Like, I can call to order and public participation. Carol, do you have any? No? Is there anybody else? How do I see who else is on here? Melissa, do you have anything you would like to say in public?
No, I assume we're going to be talking about the styrofoam.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. So I apologise. Approval of the minutes. I forgot to send you the minutes. So I'll just do that on the next meeting. So I'm going to move on to item 4. Myra's not here. So Tom, did you hear from her? Or?
I just texted. I know they're camping, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Well, we're not voting on the minutes, so I guess we can just go forward, right?
Yeah, I think we can go forward.
Okay, all right. So item 4 on the agenda is pending business and discussions. So I split it up a little bit from our last meeting into trash reduction, green communities, land trust, and then just an update. So, so trash reduction. Our last meeting, we were talking about the styrofoam for the warrant for the town meeting that was postponed from the June now to November. So, Melissa, do you have any update you would like to give us on that from the public part of the warrant that you're doing?
I think last time we had talked about maybe inviting the Chamber of Commerce to this meeting, but I assume that's not happening.
Yeah, sorry about that. I did talk to him last week. Well, actually maybe 2 weeks ago now. I think we could get him on the next agenda. They've been just kind of busy trying to figure things out. But I will extend a formal invitation to him. And he definitely, when I say him, John Smolinski, who's the chair of the chamber, he still seems interested in talking about how to get the restaurants and the businesses involved. So let's kind of defer that to the September maybe. I will say maybe as part of trash reduction too, and it's somewhat related to the warrant, is I talked with the chamber about this as well as the town. Steve Mayo issued a letter to all businesses saying that now that the governor's ban on plastic bags has been lifted, that the Wakefield ordinance stands, and that we expect the businesses to go back to no plastic, existing ordinance. Shaw's, last time I was there, was still using plastic. I think we gave them till September 1st. So if there were businesses that had to use things up, we were more than generous. I just kind of anecdotally talked to somebody at Shaw's and they said they were just trying to use up their last batch. So hopefully that will at least put the standing ordinance back into place by September 1st.
Okay.
So, oh, sorry.
Hang on, just 1 second.
Yep.
Sorry, I just opened my full screen. I saw Anne is on here and I'm not sure everybody knows who she is. So I wonder if we should just go round.
Yeah, let's do that.
Ourselves. Would that make sense?
Yeah, why don't you call on us because you can go in your order.
Oh, okay. I'll go on then, Julie. Julie.
Hi, Julie Smith-Galvin, Town Council Representative on the committee.
Rob, I'm the chair of the committee. Mary.
Mary Hasher, I'm the vice chair of the committee.
Tom.
Tom Betcher, Wakefield Municipal Light and Gas Commissioner Chair, or sorry, what I am totally like liaison to Environmental Sustainability Committee.
Robin.
Robin Greenberg, the secretary.
Joe.
Joe Conway, Public Works Director.
And Anne. You're on mute.
I'm Ann Waite. I'm the new business manager at Public Works.
Sophie.
I'm Sophie Brown. I'm a student liaison.
That's it. Thanks. I just wanted to introduce you. So,
thank you.
yep.
And then as I think she already said, the public people, right? Melissa and Carol.
Melissa and Carol are online as well as public participation. Yeah.
From my information, so Anne, are you the representative on the committee or is Joe?
I think we're going to share it.
Okay.
So it's technically me. I apologize for the spring. We kind of
Your replacement was good.
yeah, I knew it was in good hands. So I don't want to jump through the agenda, but I'm assuming everybody knows. So Claire has left us. She's road tripping back to California to head home.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think with everything going on, it made her kind of yearn to be a little bit closer to family, you know, especially with some of the topsy-turvy up and down nature of, you know, health and wellness and everything that's going on now. So I'm sorry to see her leave, that's for sure. But we're gonna pick up where she left off and hopefully push things forward along. So Anne joins me tonight. She is our new business manager who I don't think this group has met yet or been introduced to. Anne has done a lot with the refuse and recycling world and sustainability when she was at her previous job at Melrose. So I thought it'd be fitting to have her tag along in the meeting tonight with me. She's a face that you'll probably be interacting with and seeing, you know, more frequently. So I just wanted to welcome her to the meeting, I guess.
Great. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah. I thought I'd just jump down as Anne was sitting right here.
Yeah, no worries. I'm sorry to blow up your flow.
Yeah. No, it's great. Thank you. Trash victims. Green communities. So we're going to form a little focus group. I sent an email out to everybody asking to blind copy just me back. Robin showed some interest, right, in helping. We're going to split them up into small groups, so we can.
Are these officially subcommittees?
No.
No.
No, we
Okay.
talked about that. Did you talk to Tom about that to make sure? Or?
Well, Tom said don't have subcommittees.
I think we're calling them more working groups, but I mean, sorry, Rob, to jump in. I just want to make sure that we don't go sideways on any of the rules. So
that's why I asked.
I think they're more working groups. We definitely have to be cognizant that if there's going to be a majority of the committee meeting, we will definitely post it, and we want to make them open to people. But at this point, they're kind of just small working groups that anybody can float in and out of. We're hoping there'll be at least one lead on all of them, just for coordination. But they don't have to have formal meetings. There's no, you don't have to report on it every time. They're really just, we're calling them focus groups, working groups, people who can go out in between meetings, do some research and bring it back. And then anything that we decide will be decided as the whole group.
So it's just, gathering the information.
Where if it does turn out that you have a meeting or you say, let's get together and talk about this, and a majority of this committee shows up, then you shouldn't hold that meeting. Or if you know it's going to happen, definitely.
Right. It's quick enough to post it and make everything open meeting laws. But this was just more the gathering the information, maybe have a focus group with the.
The other thing that I really like about that is that it doesn't, a subcommittee would presumably just be members of this body, and really we're trying to get other people involved. We've already had, Melissa's showing great interest on the styrofoam and trash reduction, so we definitely want to make sure that other people can be involved. So I think it just keeps it more open.
Yeah,
I think it was a great idea, Rob, and that was my one concern too, Robin, of how technically would that work, but to be able to sort of branch out and solicit other people that might have interests, or sort of have those conversations with key experts, because we have lots of them. It's just sort of like identifying them and then sort of trying to figure out, maybe what the next steps are before we even introduce something. I think it's going to go a long way just to kind of either decide something might be bring it back and decide, is it a priority or not, and then go from there. So there's probably lots of little avenues we can take with the research and whatnot. So
yeah. So like we had the green communities come in. He did a great presentation, but we can focus that on a smaller group and then bring it back for points that we need to move forward with, and if it makes sense to move forward. So that would be similar for the land trust, reaching out to, I think it was mentioned, Andover at the last meeting, finding out what they actually do and if it's something that would fit in Wakefield.
I ran into Judy today at town hall and she remains interested in that as well.
Yeah, she's one of the ones who I've been, I just asked Rob, maybe I can get her contact and just have a direct conversation. And I started to kind of feel out a little bit with some contacts at the state, just to pick their brain on what are our options. I would just add, Rob, that, you have it categorized as land trust, but I would just generically make it sort of land protection, whether that's through the vehicle of a land trust or something else. I think, I just want to keep it sort of open-ended so we can explore different avenues, because I think I mentioned land trust, which is why inquiring about it. But the more I sort of find out, and this is new for me, but the more I sort of explore the needs, there may be different ways short term that we can sort of effectuate some protection with different land that already exists here that may or may not be protected. So again, just kind of reinforcing, I think it's a great idea. Maybe the categories be a little more generic.
Yeah. Okay. So Sophie, I didn't know if any of you guys would be interested in being on any of these little focus.
What's the third one? I think we mentioned the two.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's trash reduction, which was working on the warrants and composting and recycling in town.
And just so you know, so there's kind of two sides. Rob, there's two sides of this, right? There's the styrofoam, which is kind of the citizen warrant, but I think Claire was also looking at things like how do we reduce the weight of the trash and composting, and all of that works in. So we just, and our plan this year was to really try to demonstrate zero waste events around the lake, but of course that's not happening. So there are a lot of little kind of pieces there that probably will touch upon you and Joe as well.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, and some of that, when we thought of this, was Claire was obviously very involved with the trash and the recycling and the composting in town. So it's just keeping that moving forward. So yeah, trash reduction, which is quite a broad scope, and then the Green Communities Act, which breaks up into those 5 categories, which I can't remember quite this thing. But was the zoning, being on the national grid to be able to get
the variance for that. For those streets that are nat grid allows us not to have to charge. So it's kind of a little loophole that we.
Were you able to confirm that we have those? I think we do.
I have the request out. I haven't received.
Okay.
But I do. I mean, I personally know that there are some streets that are serviced.
Okay.
I just don't know what those addresses are.
Okay.
But I will follow up
and
on
I
that.
think I'm not sure I actually ever. It's a crazy month for me too. Ever circulated the actual presentation, so I will do that right after this.
The presentation is attached to the meeting notes, so when you get it.
Oh, it is. Okay, good. So,
Right.
so when you get the meeting notes, that will come out with it, which is a very good description of what we have to do.
Yeah. It has the 5 categories.
I mentioned it to Joe today too in a meeting that we were talking about kind of baseline energy things, and that's one of the components as well.
Yeah, because there's a lot of, it affects all the public buildings, doesn't it? So it falls under Joe, yeah. And then land protection was the other one. So Susie, if you or any of the other students are interested in joining one of those groups, I don't know if there's any interest in.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely interested in helping out with whatever I can. Like, is there anyone that would be I would be most helpful on, like getting, I don't know, any part of the school involved or something?
It's tough right now with the school
No. Yes, obviously. But like, I don't know, is there really much I can do with like the land trust and everything? Is there one that I'd be more beneficial for?
Obviously to join in. And same as Addie.
Yeah, well, you know what, we'll try to come up with like a little more of an explanation, because we also want to get public involvement. So maybe we should come up with like a 2 or 3 line that's more descriptive, and we can start including that in the agenda. And then from that, Sophie, maybe you and Addie and others can decide. And I'm probably going to propose during item 6, maybe another working group too.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Okay, great. So moving on. So the plastic bag collection that we've been doing at the town hall, which is now by the dumpster, we're at £600.
Wow.
And how much did we need for the bench?
500.
Okay. Can we continue doing it? Did we ever get a?
We can, yes.
Oh, wonderful. There'll be benches everywhere.
It actually runs through December, so we could end up with a bench at every elementary school. I don't. It's between about 50 to 80 pounds a week sometimes. It gets up to 80 pounds a week sometimes.
So did they give us a limit to this, or is this into perpetuity? We can make benches for every park in the.
I think it's December 1st.
Yeah, I think.
So it's what we can raise, which I have to say, I sent her a couple of emails, kept copying Rob, and Rob was very persistent with her, and she finally came back and said, keep going.
Good.
So I did say to Rob, he's taken all the burden of picking them up and taking them to Home Depot. So if this is going to continue till December, we need to figure out a way to share the load.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Rob, whether we want to come up with a schedule. Like, I'm happy to take one day. Maybe you can tell us like how often you're picking them up and what the process is.
Yes. So depending on the week, I'll either pop by on Friday and make sure it's not too busy, too full, or otherwise I go on Mondays and then just collect everything and then take it straight up to Home Depot. And the guys at the DPW, if there's suddenly an overflow, I get a text. It's overflowing. Can you go out and grab them? So Joe, it's been working great. I don't know.
How do you weigh them?
At your end?
Hmm?
I have a fishing scale.
It's a fishing scale.
Yeah.
Because I know like a luggage scale, they say a luggage scale will work too. So I think whoever's going to pick up needs to just have some way to weigh them.
Yeah, and I can always maybe leave it up there or something, but yeah.
Okay.
I think it's only been once so far that they've called me on a Friday and said it's already overflowing.
Okay.
So, Joe, I don't know, have you had any issues since the initial piling up outside the front door?
No, nothing. Actually, I was going to ask you, so do you just take those to Home Depot in Reading?
Yes.
That's something our guys could do during the week if you want. We'd have to hook up, maybe connect outside of the meeting and just kind of have the introduction to whoever at Home Depot, and we can shuttle those up there a couple times a week if you want. I mean, because we're all around town all the time anyway, so it would be all about 10 minutes worth of work. You know, it'd save you the trip.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, I can touch outside and introduce you to the manager that I've been dealing with, and yeah, what we do.
Yeah,
maybe we could just give you a little notebook then, just to write in how we just need to keep track of the weight.
Yep, that's no problem.
And then
Rob,
we can just collect it.
Why don't you and I plan on catching up maybe tomorrow, beginning of the week, and we'll see what we can do.
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah. Be a little bit more consistent, right?
Yeah, we be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually hoping there'll be some less bags now that the plastic ban's back in effect, but.
Mm-hmm. So do you end up with that in as sort of ruining the recycle stream? So in other words, is there someone who does someone hired to kind of pull those out, or could we use high school volunteers to do that and then add them to this bench initiative? Just a thought.
You probably could. So typically if it's detected at curbside, they'd be more likely to reject the barrel totally. Only because of the amount of stops that they have to take during the day.
Right. I know
if it's one or two, they might grab them. If it's a whole barrel full of them.
Gotcha.
But if it's something that, volunteers or whatever we're doing, I wouldn't see why there'd be any issue with it.
Yeah. Okay. But there's no that would be on the curbside. It's not like you do that on the back end. That's on the front end.
We wouldn't know, but
Okay. This is just my naivete about the whole process.
no, so once it gets to the to Greenworks on Route 1, so when they actually go through and start sorting the recycling,
You do
at
it.
that point in time, somebody from JRM would do that. It's just well past the point of any involvement that we would have with it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
And they
Thanks.
have to be dry bags, like things like that where, you know,
It's been-
they're
It's
dry.
been pretty good. I did get a lot of questions at the beginning sent to the email account, the ESC account, but it's been very good since then. There's just an occasional one little thing that you think, they shouldn't have done that, but a lot of it is home delivery of the Amazon,
Right.
Gap, Neck, all the clothing stores, all those bags all go in, and people have been very good at doing it. The Amazon
Right
delivery.
now, it is a great, like for me personally, I'm guilty of that, the Amazon. So I'll pull it and I have this big drawer with all these plastic bags that I know I can't throw and recycle. And it's made me feel good.
Yeah, you can tell sometimes people have been collecting bread bags for a month, and then they just bring them all in one go, or
That's
the
what I
bubble
do.
wrap
Yeah.
and the big bubble wrap pieces. All
People
of
are taking bread bags. I want them. Those are great poop bags.
Oh, really? Yeah.
well, they were by the DPW dumpster, the town dumpster. If you want.
Maybe
We'll
we should
start a
put
bag
those at
exchange.
the dog park.
Although I personally changed from the plastic bags from the poop bag to the there's a compostable bag
I have those too. Yeah.
that I feel is slightly better, even though it still goes in the trash stream. That's the next thing to conquer, where all that goes.
Right.
Yeah, one thing at a time, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Anyways,
Anyway, all right.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll touch base with you tomorrow, Joe. Thank you for that.
Yeah, anytime.
So this is going to be a shortest meeting. So moving on to updates. If we don't have, do we have any other updates from or pending business or discussions that anybody wants to bring up before we move on? No. Okay. So from the updates, student members. Sophie, is you're the only one on. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I don't have anything else. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
No worries. As I said, Susie can't make it tonight, so there's no update from there unless you look at the YouTube video, probably from the call yesterday for however 3 hours it was.
I know. She did a great job asking questions. I have
Yeah.
to say.
Is this? I didn't participate. I'm wondering, is the school still making meals? I don't know which hybrid or whatever, but is there still the kitchens being used?
There's
When
still
they go-
stuff, the pickups, as far as I.
Is it? Well, I'm just
They're doing
wondering if we could
Wednesday
still make
pickup.
use of composting. If we could, if they're centralizing it, is there an opportunity?
Well, they're doing the
That's a
morning.
good
and
question.
afternoon. I don't think the way it's set up. I don't think anybody's eating there. The way I've read it.
No,
I
I meant compost waste from just the prepping of meals as opposed to the post-consumer access of it. So it's truly compost, not the second, not
Right,
the.
so which is part of what we talked about as the second phase of at the elementary schools before everything shut down. We still have the contracts that were just paused, so yeah, I can reach out to the food services and see if they want to swap over and use the contract for the back of house. We do that, and part of that, literally the day everything shut down, we just had organised. I forget Dan's last name, from the Marical.
Dan McGrath.
Thank you. They were going to be implementing it there for the Boys and Girls Club and the food pantry, so maybe we can move.
I think both of those entities might still be operating.
Yes.
I don't know if it ever got moved forward because everything shut down, and then I just
They did discuss that Galvin would be in at least the latest plan, which obviously remain flexible, everything's subject to change, but I believe they discussed that Galvin would be serving a lunch. Or they'd be doing lunch. I wasn't 100% clear. So there may be, you know, if we have the availability, maybe we could shift those resources. I know we've been doing them at elementary, but I don't think they're serving lunch. So, and then I think where Robin was going is if they're still doing the lunch for kids in need, prepackaged, that's, I think, the other way we could potentially use the composting service, just to kind of round it out and use what we have available already. So a couple of thoughts, but I think we'll probably, you know, be tough, but maybe we should huddle once the plan's in place offline, because of the timing. I don't think school is going to start now till the 17th. So actually we will have another meeting before then. So it just won't give us a lot of time to plan if we need to pivot. So
one problem, I guess, it might be easier in the middle school and the high school, but there's a lot of outsiders going in. Like I went in pretty regularly. I don't know if parents are going to be allowed in the schools.
That's interesting.
For training.
And I know Susie's not here, but one idea, and I'll try to communicate it with her, but maybe Joe or Ian, if you're having any interactions with the facilities group, I know they were talking about tablecloths at the Galvin, which makes a lot of sense because they don't have to clean the tables all the time. I was just wondering whether they might consider like rolls of craft paper rather than plastic. I mean, I got the sense that they were like gonna put plastic tablecloths on. I grew up in Maryland. You have big rolls of craft paper that you use when you pick crabs. I thought those might be just as easy and a little more environmentally sustainable. So if you have any opportunity to communicate that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, so Julie, I have a standing meeting with both Doug Lyons and Bob Shiroli every Friday at 10. So I'll ask him in the morning and see kind of what his plan is and see if maybe I can influence him to paper over the plastic.
Yeah,
or
that'd be great.
I'll let you know what I find out.
I'm sure I haven't thought through all of the pros and cons on either side, but yeah, see, bring it up. Doesn't hurt to ask.
And yeah, and on the back of that, we do still have nearly 3/4 of a year of composting pickups for 4 elementary schools, just paused from the WEF fund that we got. So the barrels are still sitting there, and we've paid. So if they can use it, we can move the barrel if it needs to go to the middle school or the high school, or leave them at the elementary school for back of house, or it's paused. We haven't reached out because obviously they've got a lot going on. So
yeah. Actually, the craft paper might be actually cheaper on a per square foot versus the plastic, and then because it will most likely be food stains, that is a compostable product as well versus the plastic. So
yeah,
potential 2 benefits there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on then. Town council. Julie, would you like?
I guess maybe I'll do all my updates then here since they came to Joe and Bill Renault and Steve Mayo and I met today. I had a constituent reach out to me about bike lanes, particularly with the downtown revitalization going on, and even more specifically with the recent meeting we had on the Albion Street renovations being funded through Complete Streets. So we had a really good conversation today about that. Bill and Joe are looking into the feasibility about Albion Street in particular, but I think they both brought up a really great point that we should be looking at this kind of from a whole town perspective, particularly with the bonding for new roads going into place and continued opportunities for complete street funding from the state. So John Chrisley is the constituent who reached out to me. I had asked him to be on tonight, but he runs a bike group on Thursday nights. So I told him that I would mention it. I think that there is an appetite for replicating something they have in Melrose, which is, I think it's Ann might know, Ped Bike Group, or Bike Ped. I can't remember which comes first. I don't think it probably matters.
Ped Bike.
Okay, Ped Bike. Working group. So again, kind of along the lines of what we were talking earlier, a bit of just a working group, interested people getting together and Bill and Joe and the DPW has said, yeah, they would love to have kind of an interest group to share their ideas and to talk through the plans with. So I guess I would like to propose that we add that as a focus group. And I think that, I can pretty safely say there's already at least 2 or 3 residents that are pretty interested in doing that. So that's one thing. The other thing is, Steve, and I know Tom, the light department are looking at these municipal energy technical assistance grants that are due. The application's due next week. Pretty small money, but just to look at things around town that before now were only open to green communities. They've opened it up to everybody in the whole state, even if you're not a green community. So I just asked Steve and Peter Dion, and I know Jen Calais has been working on it, and Tom, I think you and we talked about it a little bit. So I think that there is some collaboration happening there, and maybe in the DPW update, Joe has more information. So I think those are my 2 main items that I had.
Thanks. Tom, do you
Yeah, just a couple of updates. Kind of was spurred around some of those technical grants that Julie was talking about, but thinking longer term, bigger picture, there was some discussion to start, now that the public safety building has been approved, but to start looking at potentially solar plus battery there for, carbon reduction, power savings, resiliency as well. Because as the solar plus battery can be utilized for backup generation of power if the utility goes down, and then if the battery is depleted, then obviously the fossil fuel generation would kick in as well. But kind of that concept around there, and then potentially even dovetailing that into that being a core of a potential microgrid that we were kind of exploring. So something that this committee plus the department might need to start driving to the permanent building committee plus the zoning, as these plans are starting to come to fruition. So kind of look at that. The public safety building from a siting perspective of solar Rob, as you know, is a good site. There's not any tree coverage, and I'm assuming that the roof will be redone. So just stuff to start looking at. And then we just hit our system capacity peak annually on July 24th. So this is kind of the concept around shave the peak. We, as a community, used 50.15 megawatts at our peak capacity. And then just this past Tuesday on the 11th, we hit our August transmission peak as well. Shaving the peak is obviously beneficial to everyone because the higher that peak is, the more that we pay. Those peaks set our kind of rates for the entire month and year for those transmissions. So I personally, as a commissioner, was pushing out education and information around peak shaving and those types of things, and those plug into the smart homes. But I think a lot of it is education. So something that potentially we could do as well, just with our community, and educate around shave the peak.
That's great, thanks. I just have one. I know a while ago we did set up a spreadsheet with all the public buildings, municipal buildings, and on there we were trying to get a list of the lifespan, the install date of the roofs, or the lifespan of those roofs, so we knew when they were going to be up for renewal, and then potentially solar on those. Did that final bit get sorted out? Do you know, Joe?
It's been a while since I looked at the spreadsheet. The last I knew was part of that was kicked over to DPW / the permanent building committee for those ages.
So Rob, I have everything that we have on record is actually repairing, upgrading, and then we also went back to the town report as far as we could. I literally have that paperwork on my desk, so I can send that out to you in the morning too. Some of them, we just don't know the age of the roof, but there's some other buildings that we definitely can pinpoint through one of those two sources to get a,
So that would give us a timeline for them.
yep.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
And I forget, and actually that reminds me, I don't know if I mentioned this last month or not, but the dashboard for the pumping station roof for the solar is online and available. So it's a public dashboard that people can log into and see, you know, the real-time production and historical production of that array.
Oh, that's great.
Tom, where's the dashboard? You said it's
So
public.
there, I can send the link to this group, but if you go to the utilities page, there's a permanent hyperlink there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I can go find it and send it to this group.
It's okay. It's if knowing it's on your website somewhere, then I'll dig.
All right, Joe.
Incoming kindergarten.
So I'll start with the solar. So that grant project is up and running. All the funding came in. It came out at zero cost to us. I actually looked at the dashboard just before we logged in. So year to date, which is basically from the end of May till today, that's generated 5 megawatts of power for almost 8,000 pounds of CO2 reduced. So that's been a fantastic thing to have. Outside of that, we're just trying to play catch up for basically the 3 months of shutdown, you know, and limited ability to work safely. We're cautiously waiting and optimistic that our MVP grant comes in with some good news for us at some point in time this month. And we're just moving along, doing our thing. So I don't know. I mean, I'll default to Ann. I'll jump you right in. Do you have anything to add on behalf of us?
I was just going to bring up simpler recycling. Started up, and that seems to be moving along. A lot of people are participating, which is great.
That's the pink bags.
Pink bags, yes.
Yeah.
Are you guys tracking how much is collected?
Yes.
So do you have any sense of volume? Or?
Well, it was a tough start because of the COVID. So May was the first month, and it was kind of half of a month. So we should have some numbers soon for May, June, and July.
Do you know when the next pickup's going to be?
So the pickup is on the recycle week.
Oh, so it's every. Oh, I didn't. Okay.
It's rolling. Yeah.
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 Rolling. Okay. Oh, great.
That's a great thing. It's a great
I've
program.
used it many times. Very convenient.
And you can buy more bags at Town Hall, the pink
No,
bags?
The bags are free.
Oh.
Just call the number on the bag and they'll send you more bags. But if you put one bag out, they'll leave you a bag. If you put
Oh.
2 bags out, they'll leave you 2 bags. And they either tie it to your
I've
bag.
seen that. I wondered. Okay. Oh, I've been waiting till I have a full bag. Okay.
No, go right ahead.
Okay.
It's right on the website. I've done it. So you go online, you can request as many bags as you want.
That's
and
awesome.
It's pretty quick. Like they left it, they sent me them and just put them in the mailbox in advance of even the program starting because it started late.
Oh, well.
And there was conversations. Hi, first of all, sorry I was so incredibly late. I'm at a campsite that maybe counts for something.
One with nature.
There was some conversation when we were first starting this about sort of monitoring also the textile recycling that went into the bins at schools. And I don't know if if that's still being collected, but I know that was a little bit of a concern on the community group when we first, when this was first launched, that it was going to take sort of money away from that fundraising opportunity at the schools. So do you have a sense of how that's going? Are those bins still being used and still being collected?
So I go by the Greenwood, and those those containers are always overflowing. So I'll contact Bay State Recycling this tomorrow and see if I could get some numbers from them.
Thank you.
So,
That'd be great,
Myra,
thanks.
just to jump in on that really quick, I think at least initially when we were talking to Simple Recycling, we were skeptical on the same kind of premise. But one of the things that the gentleman, Steve, who came out to inform us about the program, came right out and said right from the beginning that, you know, their whole business model isn't to attack that system. It isn't to go after that. You know, they're just more or less providing something for someone that might not have the means to get to that way. And I think at least in our dealings with them to this point, that's proven to be true. The numbers might tell us something a little bit differently, but I hope that they still be, you know, the same that they have been the whole time they've been running that program at the schools.
Did that answer your question? Yeah, okay.
That's great. Thank you.
The Clean Lake Committee did meet last month. So obviously we're waiting for the MVP grant results for a lot of the outlets. There is a meeting next week for the Head of the Lake project, that the Converse building. They're having a Zoom meeting, giving an update on what the building proposal is going to look like, and that's through the Friends of the Lake, so they're looking for public input on that. So I'm going to go to that. Also in our meeting, we discussed, we have a list of, I think it's 25 items on the list. Some are being done through the DPW directly. It was just a punch list of everything that's going on around the lake. And one of the items on the list is to figure out the wetlands area and the zoning around the lake, and potentially moving out to all the infalls and outlets that affect Lake Quannapowitt. So that's a zoning change. So Bill is going to draft up and send some information out to the committee, and we're going to review it and then hopefully bring something forward to the November town council town meeting, because it's going to have to be voted on because it will be a zoning change. I think that was.
Rob, did you say the proposed potential zoning changes are in inlets and outlets, or just inlets?
It's just any. I always get them my luck because I think the inlet is going into the lake, but it's the outfall into the lake. So there's an outline, like it goes all the way up Pleasant Street. Everything from Pleasant Street down to the lake obviously flows into the lake. So so it would almost be Pleasant Street going round through the centre of town and going up, I think maybe Oak, and just moving it from the 100 feet from the lake to anything that flows into the lake.
So anything within the watershed?
Yeah, but the watershed is only 100 feet from the lake right now, so it would extend the watershed to anything that directly impacts the lake, not just the 100 feet. So you could be at the top of Pleasant Street and the drain could impact.
I'll ask my mom what that's called. She knows.
Okay. I haven't had the information given to me yet, so I'm just relaying what Bill said he's going to be sending out and would like us to review and come up with a plan, and then do some public participation on it and do some working groups. So yeah, so that's all I have for that. Our next meeting is, moving on to item 5, our next meeting is September 10th. That'll be at 7 p.m. Item 6, matters not anticipated but from the agenda. Does anybody like to bring something up? I don't have anything that I would bring. I don't see anyone.
Actually, no, I was just going to say, I just wanted to give a shout out. Is Carol still on? I was walking through town this morning and she is out there watering where the Baptist church was. And, you know, it really looks, it's turned into a nice kind of piece of green space in the middle of town. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Carol for that. I know you've done a lot of work and it really looks nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Okay. A motion to adjourn then. If anybody, no one else has anything else they'd like to bring up?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favour? Do I have to do a roll call for that? Should I?
Robin says yes. Yes.
Yep, okay. All right, roll call. Sorry. I'm going to go by my screen. Mary?
Yes.
Rob? Yes. Tom?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Joe?
Yep.
We're going to do Anne as you're both here anyway.
Yes.
Susie?
Yes.
Susie's not, I'm sorry.
This is-
Sophia? And then Myra?
Yeah.
Julie?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, Rob.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.